everybody, Jerk here, and this is the big show. Let me just dust the cobwebs off of the set here. Feels like I haven't done a video in ages, but that may just be due to the disappearance of my time this past week, what with being out and about socializing and all that jazz. But do a show we will, and we'll be sure to do it in style. Now, I'm sure everyone is itching to see all the new battleships, and we will get there in time. But today, we have a special guest. Months and months ago, I got a perfumed letter in the mail asking me to get tonight's guest on for a show, and I'll be honest, I forgot. And things moved on. But last week, we finally remembered and put together a plan to get them here. So let's get them out of the green room and out here for their first appearance since March 11th, 2020, which was long before we left any details and videos. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the Tech Tree Tier 7 Russian light cruiser. Give it up for Chapayev. Once upon a time, there was a computer boat who took the computer boat game world by storm. It was so good. It had a 30mm bow, torpedoes, radar, sonar, a magical skill called Equilibrium of Power, which lit everything on fire and pinned ships like William Faulkner pinned 4-page sentences. Then, a time of darkness, the Great Nerfening. It went down to a 26mm bow. Equilibrium of Power was opened up to the American ships as well. The chance of fire was reduced, and the popularity of the ship drifted downwards like the popularity of Nicolas Cage. Does this mean it can no longer perform? Well, I will let you be the judge of that, but I should warn you, do not attempt what you are about to see. I am a licensed professional, and I cannot be held accountable for any injuries you incur trying to replicate this stunt. To pull this off, I am going to need a commander and module, so let's put them up on the big screen. We've got Big Nick with Storm and Norman and the steely-eyed Yamamoto. I am also going to need my lovely assistant to lead this charge around the corner and assist me in laying waste to 45% of the red team in an amazingly short period of time. Now, assuming that you saw the video before this, then this may look a little familiar. My div mate in an Odin and me in a Russian light cruiser, but there are some big differences between Ochakov and Chapayev. One, Chapayev's torps only go 4 kilometers, so you better make them count. The ship itself handles like a walker with 4 tennis balls on its legs, and its acceleration is mediocre at best. Where the Ochakov dances around with the grace of a prima ballerina, Chapayev has the same moves I do on a dance floor at about 1:45 a.m. on a Friday night. But it does have something. It has more guns, so let's use them. Now, as we watch this sequence, you will probably be saying to yourself, why aren't they shooting you? And that is a good question. I will assume it is because people see an Odin and think, oh no, that has torps. And that is why we went into this the way that we did. For whatever reason, the red team got 4 team members spawned down here to hour 3, and you have heard me say many times that you want to dictate the engagement on your own terms. And this division, clustering around this corner like they did, really took all of their strengths they had in numbers, rolled that into a ball, tossed it out the window where it rolled down the street into a pile of burning tires. There goes a goddamn Wichita. Looks like this player got disconnected maybe in the middle of it, but I don't care. And there's our double strike. Now, we do have to deal with this Vladivostok, and just like deja vu in the last match, tell me if this move looks familiar. Exploiting game mechanics, giving the flat broadside where I will be overpinned. Now, the difference is, in this case, the Vladivostok is bow on, and I'm not using Equilibrium of Power, so I'm not going to be doing much damage with my HE like this. but I do have torpedoes, which the Cleveland doesn't have, and so we will just hit them with torpedoes. And they are flooding, but as we know, it's a Russian battleship. They have limited damage cons, but they are quick to cycle. But I also have something else here, and that is called AP. And the AP at this range, once we get the angle on a Vladivostok's bow, well, we can see what happens. And there we go. 154,000 damage in just a few minutes and 4 ships sunk. I'd say the Kraken hunt begins, but that would be the understatement of the year. And you're probably going to want to stick around for the rest of this as we are just getting started. Hey, do you see who that is? Moist Dumplings. This is the first time that I've ever had somebody on the red team make back-to-back appearances, and if I'm being honest, I was like, oh, this would be hilarious if this person appeared in 2 Kraken videos in a row. And we'll see if that happens. But for now, we have lost a third of our team, and we're going to lose a lot more. And while we're up on points right now, the red team has the caps and are going to be turning that around in quick succession. Reading the minimap, we know it's time to head to B, flip that back, and secure the Kraken and win to make this a great match. And if I can sink Moist Dumplings in the process, well, that's just the cherry on top. But as they go behind this island, we will instead turn our attention to the Helena. A lot of people are probably wondering why I am not using Equilibrium of Power, and I will tell you, I did when cruisers were more prevalent, but in the very battleship heavy matches you see now, and now that we've got another 18 or however many introduced this week encouraging it, I prefer the fire chance. You do need to be a bit more particular on where you aim on certain ships. You may have noticed a couple salvos on that Wichita, which all just shattered because I aimed too low, but if you are familiar, or at least can make a healthy assumption about another ship's armor values, then you can know where to hit them and still have them feel it. Now, be a lamb and get the chocolate and graham crackers while I finish toasting these marshmallows and we can make some delicious s'mores to celebrate Kraken 247 in the Chapayev.
Вражеский крейсер потоплен.
Cheers, teammate. That is nicely done. And now let's do the unthinkable. 2 randoms work together to pull off a win. Not throwing the game and in fact helping one another. Prepare to be razzle-dazzled. Fantastic players. It's almost like you just know you can trust someone behind the wheel of one of those. I don't know what it is. But if one said, is it cool if I stay at your lake house this weekend? I wouldn't even think twice about saying yes. Whereas if a Champagne player asked me, I'd say, what? What? I can't hear you from the edge of the map. And to the edge of the map, our Champagne has been chased by the glistening cheeks of those dumplings. If those ships can stay spotted, I should have no problem hosing them down with my golden showers, and considering they're in a division, I think it's safe to assume there is some rebuilding of will going on, which means get some fires and farm yourself a damage record. Almost. We get very close. Perhaps if I could actually hit any of these shots, we would have, but I don't know if these are just some sort of evasive maneuvers that they've been teaching in boating school, but for whatever reason, I cannot hit them from this range. It's just impossible. And you'll see, I think I fire off 3 or 4 salvos without getting a single connection, and my division mate at this point was like, are you hitting anything? And I was like, no. And I was getting very frustrated, but as they turn in, that's going to change. So they're coming in here now, and yes, I was focusing Moist Dumplings because I wanted to try and get a video where I sink someone in back-to-back Krakens, but you know. Oh, wait, hold on. We're spotted. And this kind of changes everything, but I will say Did you notice how our Fantastic player just kept those guys spotted for me? So now I need to do something for our Fantastic player. We need to know where this last destroyer is. I mean, we can get a couple fires still, but I'm trying to determine where they are by using the terrain to narrow the field of vision of where this ship could actually be that's spotting me. And once we get that, then I should have a pretty decent idea of their location. I'm going to drop spot here in just a moment, and so I don't know if they're immediately out to the left or behind that island. So I go ahead and pop my radar, and would you look at what happens? Our Fantastic player is actually going to shoot at a destroyer. What in the world is happening here? What's that, Fantastic player? You need to borrow my car for a couple days? Say no more. I don't need to know why. Alright, so the plan is simple. We're going to sink this destroyer. Fantastic player goes to C. I'll hold B while they cap. They can keep these guys spotted, and if everything goes right, then we will walk out of here men among boys. I finally get my shot off, and I was thinking maybe I could get the six-pack. But you know what? They deserve it. Just hold on, Fantastic player. You're going to see me looking over there, just making sure that they actually have the health, because they're going to get hit a couple times and they've got fires, and I'm just thinking, please stay alive. This is going to be a good one. Stay alive. I will find you. They get hit again, double fire, but I checked their health. You know, they should be able to do this just fine. And here, I'm moving into my position with the Chappie, the torpedo position. So thanks to this Fantastic player's efforts, we have the point lead. We will have all of the caps. If these two battleships rush me, I will definitely be sunk, and they will take this cap. Will that change the points enough to swing the match back in Red's favor? I don't know. But one way I can make sure that doesn't happen is by just holding right here and keeping them back via fear of torps or appearing in back-to-back Kraken videos. So we've all been here 1,000 times. The battleship knows what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. You just have to keep holding these torps. So my plan here was to kind of fake like I had sent them and make them, give them that false sense of security. Like, oh, it's safe. And I probably could have backed up then and torp because they had just fired. But I was hoping that I would be able to complete this turn. You can see there are pretty decent torp angles on the Chapayev. But we're going to see me pull off one mistake, which, you know, I do have the health pool to pull off one. But you're also going to see the King George have a mistake here as well. So there go my torps. One hits the wall. One's actually going to pass in front, but we do get a flood. But they damage control. So there's only one thing I can do now. I need to make sure that this player goes down. We hit him with the reverse. And we're going to get him with torps on the other side. Now, in hindsight, I probably should have just kept reversing here. I think I would have been able to go faster than their turrets can turn. They would sink before that happens, but I don't know. Sometimes you just have a little something in your brain, but yeah, I go down, and there goes the King George. So we do, in fact, end up pulling off the six-pack, and we're going to pull off the win here. All right, let's see this scoreboard. 4,151 XP for a great game. Fantastic player. This bud's for you. And that's going to wrap it up for this one. If you think the Chapayev should get its 30mm bow back, then go ahead and give this video a like. If you think it should have a 50mm bow like the Ganget, then hit dislike. Questions, comments, which of the new battleships do you want to see first? I hope you're typing Florida. Let me know down below. I can see you hyperventilating over the possibility you may miss the next video, which I think is Kraken 250. So just breathe into this paper bag and hit subscribe. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll get back out there for another one soon, and we'll talk then.